So apparently Samsung paid $400 million dollars to save the S25 experience for everyone, offering the best experience possible by using the Snapdragon Elite in every one of the phones. Yes, maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't know it. I read about it and I was surprised because there's always this looming question every year. We get ready, the phones have been out for a while, talking about the future ones, and it looks like Samsung is trying to put an Exynos chip back in some of its S26 phones, at least for certain markets, which is what we've seen in the past. That didn't happen with the S25 because last year's Exynos, so it was the Exynos 2500, was not good enough. It was not producing high enough yields, so they decided to scrap it and pay a giant paycheck to Qualcomm. And it looks like they're trying to avoid doing that this year. But I got to give Samsung some credit here. Like, they could have just as easily gone with their own chips, even though they were not as good. They were not performing as well as the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. They could have still given us an Exynos chip. And people probably would have complained about it. And maybe it would have been an okay experience. But at the end of the day, it would have been an inferior product. And we've seen this before with other phones. I believe it was the S22 Ultra, where there was quite a bit of disparity between the Snapdragon chip and the Exynos chip and the performance, the optimization, especially in the camera. We had issues with heat and things like that. So, small round of applause. Thank you, Samsung, especially for people who are in markets who would have got an Exynos chip, right? So, the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, no secret, it's fantastic. It's a great chip, and stuff I'm seeing on the upcoming Snapdragon 8 Elite 2, it could be even more impressive than the Snapdragon 8 Elite that we have now. So that leaves some questions out in the air. How good will this Exynos 2600 be? I think this is a series number. How good will the Snapdragon 8 Elite 2 be? And what kind of disparity will we look at there if you end up with an Exynos? See, the whole goal of Samsung with their phones is they want to give you the best flagship performance possible, but they do want to use their own chips, at least in certain markets. Now, previously, that's been, okay, you get a Snapdragon chipset guaranteed for the US, for China, and for Canada. But if you were in Australia, if you were in Japan, if you were in, let's say you're in Germany or England, you could very well end up with an Exynos chipset. And this has been like since the dawn of time. We've been dealing with this for a very long time whenever it comes to these chipsets where it's like, oh yeah, UK got the Exynos chip, US got the Snapdragon chip. I mean, there's been points in time where both have kind of gone the other way. If you remember back to the Snapdragon, I think it was the 808 or the 810, something like that, or maybe it was the 820. Back with the Samsung Galaxy S6. I know this is a long time ago now. We're on the S25, but back with the S6, it actually had an Exynos chip here in the US because Qualcomm was having such terrible problems with their chip at the time. So, I mean, both foundries have kind of bounced back and forth over the years, but Qualcomm is usually more reliable, generates better yields, has higher quality chips, and well, quite frankly, has most people's vote of confidence, which is fine. I mean, they make amazing chips. I'm certainly happy. I've been happy with pretty much any Snapdragon chip that I've ever used, but when you have Samsung, they make their phones. They also have their own chip foundry. I mean, they've even been making the Tensor chip for the last 4 years. So I don't think they're in a big hurry to write another $400 million chip check to Snapdragon, right? Now, I do believe, though, that leaves some question mark out there because thankfully they were willing to do it because we all got the exact same high-performing experience, and the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor has been so fantastic, and it actually makes it easier. Like, it makes it easier for Samsung to actually optimize these things because if they're not trying to optimize their camera for a Exynos chipset and a Snapdragon chipset, it kind of lets them dial in and get the best experience possible because they're only programming and updating and optimizing for one chip. However, I mean, if you make widgets, you want to put widgets in your own products, right? So that's kind of how I look at things here. And it is a little frustrating because I think most people do consider Exynos chipsets inferior to Snapdragon, and I mean, they have in many ways. I was reading some information and articles this morning about the upcoming Exynos 2600, and I think as of late, the best they were able to get is 30% yields with their chips, and they kind of got to get it to like 70% for somebody to want to pick it up and use it in their own chipset. So, like, if they still can't get their chips on board and up to par with where they're supposed to be, it could be a sequel hopefully better than the sequel trilogy to Star Wars, where in this case they would be writing another check to Snapdragon. So, and I don't think it's an adversarial thing. I mean, Samsung has a really good relationship with Qualcomm. They have a really good relationship with the people over there who make Snapdragon chipsets. So, I don't think that it's necessarily one of those things like, oh, we hate Snapdragon, we hate Qualcomm, we don't want to give them money. They just want to use their own stuff. And I mean, I can appreciate that. I mean, if you make something, you want to use it, right? And you want to be able to kind of have one of those flagship level banners. You can say, hey, we did that, we do this, and we put it in our own chip because we stand by it. So, I just thought it was interesting, and I kind of want to talk about it today. You know, smartphone news is a little slow right now. I do have a lot of product reviews in the pipeline. I do have some new Asus laptops. I still got to get this Nothing 3A, and I've actually already got all the stuff I need. I just need to sit down and record it. But yeah, exciting things coming up. The new Motorola Razr phones; those are going to go on pre-order on the 7th. That's just 2 days from now. Really excited about that. And I'm really excited to see what happens because we're going to get the Razr Ultra here in the US, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on Samsung. So, yep, moral of the story here is Samsung has a lot of people vying for their position, trying to take away their market share, and Samsung is trying to, I think, do the best that they can. But hey, we got the Edge coming out very, very soon. We got the Samsung foldables, the Z Flip, and the Z Fold coming out in just a couple of months. That should be probably about July timeframe. We're talking about a bigger, better, thinner folding experience than ever with the Z Fold. So I'm excited about the upcoming Z Fold for the first time in years because it's kind of been the same old the last couple of years. And we got exciting things on the horizon for that. The Edge, I can't wait to see that. Hopefully I can get one to test it out. And then yeah, we'll see what happens throughout the rest of the year. But there's exciting things going on in the smartphone world. It's just kind of at a lull right now. I mean, they can only come out with so many phones, so many often. But the S25 Ultra has been a fantastic phone. I'm really glad that Samsung bit the bullet on this one, so to speak, and went ahead and paid the money to make sure everybody had the best experience possible. And that's the one thing I want to give them credit for here. They recognize that the better experience for everybody, which is to maintain the highest quality performance in their flagship series phones, they wrote a check. They said, hey, we're going to make sure that our people are hooked up. If you get a S25, you're going to get the best experience possible. So I think they'll probably have to make a decision like that in the near future as it comes down to the wire, because eventually they got to put these things in production, right? And there's even rumors out there that the S26 could come even earlier than January, maybe. I mean, it could even possibly be moved up more to compete more with the iPhone 17 launch. I hope that doesn't happen. I really kind of hope they keep it in January. But yeah, news on the Exynos, news on the S26, news on all the other stuff. So yeah, exciting stuff as we move forward. So that's all I got. I just want to go ahead and bring this message, talk to y'all about this because I thought it was interesting. A little bit of kudos to Samsung for saving us all and giving us all the same chip in our phones and paying that tab for our benefit. So not all companies, I think, are out to get the bottom dollar from everybody. They do want to make really good products, right? So that's something that I think is commendable. So that's all I got. Any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.